You know that feeling, right? You've studied the grammar books. You've memorized all the vocabulary lists.
Oh, yeah.
You know how to conjugate to be in like 3 different tenses. You feel totally ready.
You're prepared. You've done the work.
Exactly. But then you land at JFK, you walk into a coffee shop, the barista looks at you, mumbles something at, I don't know, 100 miles per hour.
Or ask you a question you were just not expecting at all.
And suddenly all of that textbook study, it just, poof, evaporates.
It's the classroom versus reality gap. And it is absolutely massive. I mean, in the classroom, everything's so clean and slow and, perfectly pronounced.
Right.
But in reality, it's messy, it's loud, and there's so much cultural subtext that you're just not prepared for.
Exactly. And that is exactly what we're tackling today. We aren't doing high-level literature.
No.
We aren't analyzing the geopolitical landscape. We are doing something that is arguably much, much more difficult. We are doing survival English.
I love that term for it.
We have a stack of sources here, specifically a set of role plays between 2 characters, Sam and Chloe. And they're designed to get you through that first, say, 24 hours in the U.S. without having a complete panic attack.
And when we say survival, we don't just mean, finding water in the desert or building a shelter.
Right.
We mean surviving the social pressure. We mean surviving that awkwardness of not knowing if you're supposed to wait to be seated at a restaurant or just, walk right in.
Yes, that moment of hesitation at the door.
It's terrifying. We mean navigating the concrete jungle of malls and diners.
I love that image, the concrete jungle. So here's the plan for this deep dive. We're going to dissect a simulated day out in America.
Okay.
From the mall to the restaurant. And we aren't just going to read the lines. We're going to rip them apart. We're going to look at the psychology behind why Americans say, can I get, instead of, may I have.
And we are definitely going to do the math on that terrifying moment when the bill arrives.
Oh, the bill. And a quick note on our approach today. We're going to take this slowly.
Yeah, that's important.
The source material is specifically designed for English learners, so we are going to honor that pace. We want to unpack these phrases word by word, almost like we're analyzing a code.
Right, because we want you to really hear the rhythm of these sentences. Because, as we'll see, simple language often hides really complex cultural context.
For sure. Things like tipping, taxes, how to politely demand service, it's all in there.
It is. The mission is simple. Sam and Chloe are going shopping, and then they're going to eat. But the lessons inside that little journey are universal for anyone visiting the U.S.
Okay, let's unpack this. So imagine the scene. You've just landed in the U.S., you've dropped your bags at the hotel, and you decide to hit the mall.
First stop.
You walk into a store, and you see it, the perfect t-shirt. It's cool, it's stylish, the fabric feels great. But there's one problem.
There is always a problem. And in this case, there's no price tag.
Exactly. The nightmare scenario. You want it, but you don't know if it costs $20 or $200.
And I know for some people, or in some cultures, this is the moment you just walk away.
Totally. You don't want to bother anyone. You don't want to look stupid asking a question.
Right. There's that fear of losing face.
Mm-hmm.
But our source material, specifically the first part of this series, it gives us the solution. Sam, the character who's kind of the learner here, asks Chloe what to do.
And Chloe's advice is brutally simple.
It is. Just ask.
Just ask. Easy for her to say. But she gives us a specific phrase, and I really want to dwell on this because it's so fundamental.
All right.
The phrase is, how much is this?
Let's break that down. How much is this?
Yeah.
4 words. Seems incredibly simple on the surface.
Right.
But let's look at the mechanics of it. In a textbook, you might read this as 4 distinct beats.
Mm-hmm.
How much is this?
Yeah, very robotic.
And if you say it like that in an American store, you're going to sound a bit like a robot.
You sound like a GPS navigation system trying to buy a shirt.
Exactly. In the wild, in fluent American English, this phrase undergoes a process we call reduction or linking. The is almost completely disappears.
Oh, interesting.
It just blends into the much. So it sounds more like, how much is this? It's almost one long word.
How much is this?
Yes. You're trying to connect the is sound in much with the I sound in is. Much is. How much is this?
And what about the intonation? Because I feel like that changes the meaning completely.
This is crucial. So important.
Yeah.
If you go up at the end, how much is this? You sound kind of surprised or maybe even skeptical.
But you can't believe the object exists. Like, what on earth is this thing?
Or like you're already judging the price before you even know what it is.
Right.
Exactly. But if you use a falling intonation, how much is this? You sound businesslike. You sound confident. You are simply requesting information.
That is such a powerful distinction. Okay, so you're holding the shirt, you make eye contact with the salesperson, you don't want to look lost.
You want to look like you belong there.
You want to look like you're ready to buy. So you drop the pitch at the end, excuse me, how much is this?
Perfect. It's direct, it's neutral, and it gets the job done. You don't need to say, excuse me, sir, would you be so kind as to inform me of the price of this garment?
You can, but you will sound like you just stepped out of a time machine.
Exactly. You'll mark yourself as an outsider. How much is this, is what a local would say.
Okay, so you've established the price. Let's say it's $20. It's within your budget. Awesome. But now we have another hurdle.
Of course.
The shirt on the rack is a size small. You are decidedly not a size small. You need a large.
This happens every single time. And this is where we get into what I like to call slot and filler grammar.
Oh, I like that.
The source gives us a sentence frame that is basically a master key for shopping.
And the phrase Sam uses is, do you have this in a large?
Right. Do you have this in blank? That structure is just incredibly powerful. You could put almost anything in that slot.
So, in the source, Sam practices with the size, do you have this in a large? But then they immediately pivot to color.
Exactly. Maybe the size is fine, but you hate the color yellow.
Yeah.
You want blue. The structure is identical. Do you have this in blue?
Do you have this in blue? It's so versatile, so you can ask, do you have this in red, or do you have this in a medium?
It empowers you as the learner to ask exactly what you want without having to, reconstruct a whole new sentence from scratch every time.
That's a great point.
It shifts the burden from the grammar to just knowing the vocabulary word for the size or the color.
And notice the preposition there, in. In a large. In blue, not with a large or of a large.
That's a great catch. It's always in when we're talking about the attributes of the product stock. Do you have this in stock? Do you have this in green?
I like that. It lowers the cognitive load. You just need the frame. Do you have this in? And then you just point or say the word. Okay, so you found the shirt, you found the right size, you found the right color. Now, the moment of truth. You have to put it on.
The try-on.
You look around and you don't see the little cubicles. You need to ask someone. The source gives us a specific vocabulary term here that I think is really, really important.
Yes. The term is fitting rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And notice the plural, rooms.
Where are the fitting rooms?
It's almost never where is the fitting room, unless it's a tiny little boutique with only one stall.
Right.
Generally, in a mall context like the one Sam and Chloe are describing, it's a bank of rooms. So where are the fitting rooms? Helps your ear tune into the right answer from the salesperson.
And it's funny because in some countries, they're called changing rooms.
True. In the UK, you would definitely hear changing rooms. But in the US, fitting rooms is much more common in a store context.
Why is that?
Because you're checking the fit. You're not really changing your clothes for the day. You're just seeing if the item fits you properly.
That makes so much sense. Where are the fitting rooms? And usually they'll just point. That's the easy part.
That is the easy part.
But now we get to the part that genuinely shocks people, the part that I think causes the most confusion.
The checkout shock.
This is where it gets really interesting. You've got your $10 t-shirt, you have a $10 bill in your hand, you walk up to the register, you're ready to pay, you feel good.
You've done the math, you're set.
And the cashier asks for more money.
This is a massive cultural stumbling block for visitors to the U.S. I mean, in so many parts of the world, Europe, parts of Asia, Australia, the price on the tag is the price you pay.
That's it.
The tax, the VAT, it's already baked into the sticker price.
But not here. Oh, no.
No. The source material is very explicit about this. It calls it a culture tip. Chloe warned Sam. In the U.S., the price you see is not the final price.
But why do we do this? It just seems so cruel. It feels like a trick.
It does feel that way. It's mostly because sales tax varies by state and sometimes even by city or county. So a shirt in New York City is going to have a different tax than the exact same shirt in New Jersey, just across the river. So the national chains, they just print one price tag, and the register calculates the local tax at the point of sale.
So you basically have to be a mathematician to go shopping.
A little bit, yeah. The source actually does the math for us, which I appreciate.
Yes, let's look at that example. The tag says $10. But at the register, you might end up paying $10.80.
Okay, so that implies an 8% sales tax in this hypothetical scenario they're using.
80 cents? I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot.
It's not a lot on a t-shirt, but that 80 cents matters a great deal if you're counting out exact change.
Oh, absolutely.
If you hand over a $10 bill and just stand there waiting for your receipt, the cashier is going to stare at you.
It creates that horrible, awkward silence.
It does. And think about it on a bigger purchase. If you're buying a laptop for $1,000, that 8% is suddenly $80.
Wow.
That's a significant surprise if you haven't budgeted for it.
So the real survival tip here is just mental preparation.
That's it.
Always assume the item costs a little bit more than what the sticker says.
Exactly. Preparation prevents confusion. When you see $10, just think 11. When you see 20, think 22. Just round up in your head so you are never caught off guard.
All right, so we've bought the t-shirt, we paid the dreaded tax, we navigated the fitting rooms, and as Sam says in the source, shopping makes me hungry.
A very, very relatable transition. Shopping is cardio.
It really is. So we are leaving the mall and heading to section 2 of our deep dive, the restaurant.
Okay.
Now, the source material shifts to a new dialogue, VV2. We are walking into a dining establishment.
And this is a whole new set of social scripts. I mean, restaurants can be high-stakes environments for language learners.
For sure. There's noise, there's pressure, there's hunger.
And there's a very specific dance you have to do with the staff. It's all about these little interactions.
So true. And you just want to eat. Okay, so you walk in the door. Usually there's a little podium, a stand,
Yep, the host stand.
and there's a host or hostess standing there. They look at you and ask, how many?
Which is just short for how many people are in your party. But they'll almost never say the full thing. They'll just say, how many? Or maybe just raise an eyebrow at you expectantly.
And you need a quick, efficient answer. The source suggests, a table for 2, please.
Let's look at why that phrase works so well. It's a fragment, really. It's not a full sentence.
Right, you're not saying, I would like to request a table that is suitable for 2 people.
Exactly. You're just saying, a table for 2, please. It's efficient.
It is. And the please at the end is completely non-negotiable.
Oh, absolutely. A table for 2 on its own sounds a bit demanding, like you're an emperor commanding a fleet.
Yeah, a table for 2, please. Sounds polite and civilized and like a normal person.
And, of course, you can swap out the number. A table for 4, please. A table for 1, please.
It's another slot and filler.
Precisely. It's a reusable pattern. Just change the number in the slot.
So you get taken to your table, you sit down, the menus are placed in front of you, and then almost immediately something happens that the source marks as a uniquely Ashrican custom.
The water protocol.
Yes. The expert in the source, Chloe, she points out that the server will bring you free water, but not just water.
Water with ice.
This is such a specific and important detail. Free water with ice. I know in a lot of countries, water costs money or it comes at room temperature.
Right. In many European countries, you have to specify still or sparkling,
Yeah.
and you're paying for the bottle. In the U.S., a big glass of tap water filled with ice cubes is the default greeting.
It lands on the table almost before you do.
It really does.
But why the ice? Why do Americans love ice so much?
It's a bit of a cultural mystery, but I think it just comes down to the idea that Americans generally prefer their beverages extremely cold. It's considered fresh or refreshing.
So if you get lukewarm water in a U.S. restaurant, it feels like a mistake.
It feels like something is wrong with the machine, yeah.
So the server puts the water down, and usually they will then ask if you want anything else to drink. If you're happy with the free water, the phrase to use is, just water for me, please.
Just water for me, please. That word just is doing a lot of work there.
How so?
It signals that you don't want to order a beverage from the menu right now.
Yeah.
You are perfectly happy with the free option. It politely shuts down the upsell without being rude.
But what if you do want something else? The source gives us an alternative for that, too.
Can I get a Coke, please?
Okay, stop the presses. Can I get? This phrase appears multiple times in our source material. I feel like this is the most valuable phrase of American survival English.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
Can I get is the standard, casual, polite way to ask for things in American service interactions. It's the go-to.
But wait, because in school I was taught, may I have?
Yeah.
Or I would like. Are those wrong now?
They're not wrong grammatically. They're perfect. But I would like a Coke can sound a little formal, a little stiff.
It sounds like you're at a royal banquet or something.
Exactly. And give me a Coke.
Oh, definitely not.
That's just rude. That's an imperative, a command. You never want to issue a command to a server.
So can I get is the sweet spot. It's right in the middle.
It is. It balances friendliness with a request.
Yeah.
It feels collaborative. Can I get a Coke? implies a sort of casual equality between you and the server.
It's what the person at the next table is saying. It sounds local.
It does. It signals that you understand the casual register of American dining.
Listeners, you need to tattoo that on your brain. Can I get a Coke? Can I get a menu? Can I get a napkin?
It works for everything. And again, the pronunciation really matters here. It usually links together, can I get? Or even faster, can I get?
Can I get a Coke, please?
Perfect.
So you've got your ice water, you've got your Coke. Now you have to actually tackle the menu. And sometimes the menu is huge. It's like a novel.
The Cheesecake Factory syndrome.
Hmm.
The menu is 40 pages long and bound like a textbook.
The paradox of choice. You're completely overwhelmed. You have no idea what's good.
And you're panic reading because you can see the server walking back towards your table.
The source gives us what it calls a magic phrase for this exact moment.
What do you recommend?
What do you recommend? Why is this magic, in your opinion? What makes it so good?
Well, it accomplishes two things at the same time. First, it solves your decision paralysis instantly.
Right.
You're outsourcing the decision to the expert in the room, the server. They know what the kitchen is doing well today, what's fresh.
That's so smart.
And second, it engages the server on a human level. It builds this little bridge of connection. Most servers actually like being asked.
Really?
Yeah, it lets them share their opinion, maybe steer you away from a dish that isn't the best. It turns a simple transaction into a brief conversation.
That's a great point. It makes you a good table, not just another order to take.
Exactly. What do you recommend? And then, of course, you just have to listen to what they say.
Which is the hard part. But they might say the cheeseburger is great. And that leads us right into the ordering frame.
Which brings back our MVP phrase.
Of course. Can I get?
Can I get the cheeseburger, please?
Notice the article there. Can I get the cheeseburger? It specifies the particular item that's on the menu.
Right. Not just a cheeseburger, but the one you guys sell.
Can I get the cheeseburger, please? And again, ending with please.
Always. The source material is very, very consistent about that. Politeness is the lubricant of all these interactions. You really can never say please too many times in a U.S. restaurant.
So let's just recap where we are in this journey. We've been seated. Table for two, please.
We've ordered drinks.
Yeah.
Just water for me, please.
We asked for advice. What do you recommend?
And we ordered the main course. Can I get the cheeseburger, please?
We are surviving. We are doing it.
We are thriving. We are now eating our cheeseburgers. But the meal isn't over.
Not yet. We are moving into section 4, the end of the meal rituals. And this is drawn from the third part of our source series.
And this section deals with two really important things: leftover food and paying the bill.
Let's start with the food. In the scenario, Sam says, I'm full, but there's still some pizza left on the table.
A very, very common American scenario. The portion sizes are large.
Huge. I mean, sometimes the burger is the size of your head. It's insane.
And the source explicitly states the cultural value at play here, which is, in the U.S., we don't waste food.
So you don't just leave it there to be thrown away. You take it with you. But you need a vessel. You need a container.
And the specific terminology for that vessel is a to-go box.
To-go box. Now, I grew up hearing the term doggy bag. Is that still a thing? Is that outdated?
It's a bit old-fashioned. You might still hear it from older generations, but it kind of implies you're taking the food home for your pet.
Which is usually a lie, let's be honest.
Exactly. You're taking it home for your midnight snack. So, to-go box, or even just a box, is the modern standard. And the phrase is...
Can I get a to-go box, please?
There it is again. It's everywhere. Can I get a to-go box, please?
I think it's really interesting that the source highlights this as a cultural point. Because in some places, asking to take leftovers home just isn't done. It might seem cheap or rude.
Exactly. In some high-end dining cultures or specific countries, once the food is served, it's done. If you ask to take it home, it looks like you're, I don't know, scavenging.
Right.
But in the U.S., it is fully 100% expected.
Yeah.
If you leave half a pizza on the plate, the server might actually ask you, do you want a box for that?
It's almost rude not to take it. It kind of implies you didn't like it enough to want to save it.
That's a really good way to look at it. So don't be shy. Claim your leftover pizza.
Okay, the food is packed up. The table is cleared. Now we need to leave. We need to pay.
And here we have another one of those vocabulary distinctions that can trip up a lot of learners.
The difference between bill and check.
Right. In the UK or Australia, for example, you ask for the bill. And if you say bill in the US, people will absolutely understand you.
It's not wrong. They won't look at you like you're crazy.
No, not at all. But the source emphasizes that check is the local term. It's what you'll hear Americans say.
Check, please.
It's short, it's direct, Or, if you want to be slightly more formal and use a polite modal verb, could I get the check, please?
Could I get is a nice variation of can I get, a little softer.
Yes. Could is slightly more deferential, slightly more polite. Could I get the check, please?
Mm-hmm.
Works perfectly.
I usually just make the scribbling motion in the air and mouth the word check. Is that considered survival English?
That is survival sign language, and honestly, in a loud restaurant, it works perfectly.
Good to know.
But for our audio learners, check, please, is the gold standard phrase to memorize.
Fair enough. So, the check arrives. You open the little black book, you see the total. But we are right back to the math problem again.
We are. And this is Section 5, Financial Etiquette, and specifically tipping.
The source calls this the most important part, and I think they're right.
They are. Because unlike the sales tax, which is mandatory and automatic, tipping requires you to make a decision and perform an action. But socially, it is not optional.
Chloe is very, very clear about this in the dialogue. She says, in the U.S., you should leave a tip for your server.
And it's a very strong should. It's basically an obligation. And I think we need to pause and explain why, because to a lot of our listeners coming from Europe or Asia, this whole system feels insane.
It feels like a scam. The menu said the burger was $15. Why am I now voluntarily paying more? Why isn't the employer just paying the staff a living wage?
And that's the core of the issue. It goes back to the legal structure of employment in the U.S. In many states, the minimum wage for servers is significantly lower than the standard minimum wage.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're talking $2 or $3 an hour in some places. The entire system presupposes that the customer, not the employer, is paying the bulk of the server salary through tips.
So when you don't tip, you're not just making a statement about the service. You are essentially deciding that that person shouldn't be paid for their time working.
Precisely. It's a moral obligation that's masquerading as a gratuity or a thank you. Now, the source gives us the hard numbers.
18 to 20%.
Right. And let's be real. 18% is the new 15%.
Inflation has hit tipping percentages too.
It really has.
Yeah.
Years ago, 15% was the standard. Now, 15% is considered a bit low, like maybe something was wrong.
So 18% is your baseline for everything was fine, no complaints.
And 20% is, thank you, that was excellent service.
Okay, so practically speaking, if I get a check for $50, I am not just handing over a 50. I need to mentally add $10 to that immediately. The meal costs $60.
Always. And here's a survival tip the source implies but doesn't say outright. You have to do this calculation before you leave the table. You can't just throw some money down and run.
Right. This is a social norm that you really need to calculate and handle before you stand up to go. If you walk away without tipping or tipping very low, it's considered a significant breach of etiquette, a major faux pas.
It directly affects the server's livelihood. So part of surviving financially in the U.S. is budgeting for that extra 20% on every single sit-down meal.
So if the burger is $15 on the menu, plus the tax, plus the tip, you're really paying closer to $20.
Exactly. That's the real price of the burger.
Now, there's one last phrase in the source that I think is just cool. It feels cool to say. It's for when you're paying with cash.
Yes. The cash transaction. A dying art.
Let's say the bill is $18. You put down a $20 bill. The server comes to pick it up. You don't like the $2 back. You want to leave it as part of the tip. What do you say?
Keep the change.
Keep the change. It sounds like something from a movie. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Well, maybe leave off the filthy animal part, but keep the change is a very fluent, very natural thing to say.
What does it signal?
It tells the server the transaction is complete. That extra money is for you. We are all good. It's clean.
It's efficient and it's generous. It closes the interaction perfectly.
And it avoids that awkward dance where the server brings back the coins and you leave them on the table and they come back. Keep the change. Just settles it instantly.
But wait, a word of warning here. You can only say this if the change is actually enough to be a decent tip, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a crucial point. If the bill is $19.50 and you hand them a 20 and say, keep the change, you are telling them to keep 50 cents.
Which is insulting.
Deeply insulting. So keep the change only works if the change covers that 18 to 20% gap we talked about.
Right. Otherwise, you wait for the change and then you add more money to it on the table to make a proper tip.
Correct. So keep the change as a power move, but only if you have the math right.
Got it. Use it wisely.
Exactly.
So we've done it. We have survived the day. We made it through.
We have. We shopped and we ate.
Let's just recap this journey because we have covered a lot of ground in a really short time.
We started at the mall. We learned to ask, how much is this? With that falling intonation, because price tags are often missing.
We use the sentence frame, do you have this in? To ask for different sizes and colors. Do you have this in blue? Do you have this in a large?
We navigated our way to the fitting rooms, and we prepared ourselves for the sales tax surprise at the register. Always remember that mental math, price plus about 8 to 10%.
Then we got hungry. We went to the restaurant. We asked for a table for two, please.
We accepted our free ice water by saying, just water for me. Or we used the power phrase, can I get, to order a soda.
Can I get a Coke? Can I get the cheeseburger? It's the key.
We used what do you recommend to handle a big menu and to connect with our server.
And finally, we asked for a to-go box for our leftovers. We asked for the check, not the bill, and we navigated the crucial 20% tip.
And if we paid with cash, and the math was right, we very coolly told them to keep the change.
It's a complete narrative arc from start to finish.
It really is. And, the expert in the source, Chloe, she says something at the very end. She says, you are now ready for your American adventure.
And I think that's true. I really do. These two interactions, shopping and dining, they probably make up 90% of what a visitor needs to say to strangers.
I'd agree with that.
If you master these scripts, you're not just surviving, you're actually functioning like a local.
And that confidence, it changes the whole trip. Instead of fearing the interaction, you can actually enjoy the burger. You can relax.
So here is my challenge to you, the listener. Don't just listen to this deep dive. Practice it. Say, can I get in the shower? Whisper, how much is this? While you're making coffee.
Muscle memory matters so much for language. You want these phrases to come out automatically when you're standing in that loud, stressful restaurant.
Exactly. Now, before we sign off, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked a lot about the checkout shock of sales tax and the social pressure of tipping.
The hidden costs of America.
Right. And it raises a really interesting question about how we view prices. In the U.S., the price on the tag or the menu is just a starting point.
That's a great way to put it.
It's an invitation to a transaction that involves more math and some social judgment on your part.
It really does. It forces the consumer to be constantly calculating. It's not a passive experience. It's active participation in the economy of that moment.
So here's the final question for you to think about. How does knowing about the tipping culture and the sales tax surprise change the way you would budget for a trip? Does it change what you would buy or even where you would choose to eat?
That's a great question to ponder. Maybe you decide to eat at the food court to avoid the tip. Or maybe you buy fewer but more expensive things.
Or maybe you just bring a calculator everywhere you go. Something to think about as you plan your next adventure. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into American survival English. Good luck with your studies.
Goodbye and good luck.
See you next time.